I'm going to show you how to easily differentiate sections in a song. This is low-hanging fruit. This is beginner basic tips, and it should help you if you're kind of new to production. My name is Nick Rollo. Welcome to the Producer Place. As a quick freebie for you, there is a free vocal mixing cheat sheet below. You can also get Studio One presets and tutorials, like a course. It's all linked below. You'll sign up for our email newsletter, which just gives tips and tricks and various plugins that we're using. So if you think that will be interesting, go check that out. Linked below. Let's get into the video. All right, so I have this very rough beat idea, and I've got just an A and a B section, and right now they're exactly the same. So I'll just quickly play it for you. I like the chord progression. The bass it's just root notes. It's nothing particularly exciting, and the drums are just a loop, so lazy, but you kind of get a very loose vibe. There's a lot of different ways that we can make a section feel different. We can remove instruments, we can add new instruments, we can change instruments. We're not going to do any of that. What we're going to do is just edit the kind of pre-existing instruments to make them sound different. I've made a video about this in the past on a different channel, but I thought I would just revisit it really quickly because it's super easy to do. So I'm using Studio One 7. This technique really applies to any DAW. All you need to do is, or at least the way that I do it, you just need to bounce out the audio. So in Studio One, I can do that by either grabbing and dragging just to a blank space. I can right click it and find bounce selection, which should be an event. Bounce to new track would be what I was after. You could freeze the track if you want. I'm just going to drag it because that's kind of easy. Oops, I'm not going to do that. They've changed it. I'm just going to do bounce to new track and let that do its thing. Cool, and now I've got an audio file. So MIDI into audio. They should sound exactly the same right now. And all that's done is it's rendered the instrument and also the delay on it and the volume. So exactly the same, but there's no processing on this channel now. So what we can do is anything really. We could grab a filter. We could low filter it. Both of those are good options. I like to sometimes use a plugin like RC20 and make it wobble and then filter it off so it's a little bit, it's filtering, but it's a little bit vibier, I suppose. And you can obviously go more extreme with that. You can really filter it off. Again, obviously this is like a very simple technique, but it does play a difference, and we can hear that here. The tops just disappear. It gives a little bit more space, particularly for a vocalist. Now that's just one of a million different ways we could do something. We could grab a flanger. More the point of this video is, I think, render it out and then add different effects. And those effects can be whatever you like. Even that, it just changes the vibe. Another thing we could do is we could find the chords, which would be here. I'm just following the bass notes and I'm just cutting. And then I'll just delete that because it's a loop. What I'm going to do is reverse the audio. So I'm just going Command R in Studio One. Again, not a perfect example, but it's a simple thing to do where you can just change the existing sound and make it feel different. You could shift the whole thing up or down with a transpose, we could punch it lower. The main point of this is, particularly with filtering and making the sound feel darker and a little bit more complex, you go into the verse, it's more complex, like there's a darker nature to it, it's a bit more muffled. When you hit the chorus, you get a natural opening when it goes back to the original sound. It just helps make the chorus feel like a chorus. As I said, you can do this with so many effects. You could do this with so much processing. You could extend the time, like you double the length or half the length. If you don't want to do editing of the audio, then you could simply just grab the chord progression and put it on a different instrument. Just changing the vibe, you could have the same amount of instruments, but just change the tone, change the timbre. Easy. It's an easy way to change the vibe. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you next video.